Welcome to The Data Pulse, a data-driven health podcast breaking down key health trends and insights in South Carolina. Brought to you by the South Carolina Department of Public Health. Visit dph.sc.gov/tracking. Better info, better health. Here's your host, Tony G.
Welcome to this edition of The Data Pulse. I'm your partner in praise, Tony G. Joining us today is Sophie Grimsley. She's an air quality data analyst at the South Carolina Department of Environmental Services in Columbia. She holds a degree from the University of South Carolina Honors College and has a strong passion for weather, outdoor environments, and hurricane research. In her role, she analyzes air quality data to support environmental monitoring and public health initiatives across the state. When we come back, we'll talk with Sophie Grimsley.
Are you looking for accurate data for school projects, grant applications, or business presentations? SC Tracking has that. Go to dph.sc.gov/SC Tracks. SC Tracking tracks state and county level data. It's easy to get started. Visit dph.sc.gov/SC Tracks. Better info, better health. Brought to you by the South Carolina Department of Public Health.
Joining us today is Sophie Grimsley with the South Carolina Department of Environmental Services, Bureau of Air Quality. She's an air quality data analyst. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Since this is your first time with us, we'd love for you to introduce yourself, where you're from, and how you got involved in this particular area.
Absolutely. Well, my name is Sophie Grimsley. I grew up in Jacksonville, Florida, but moved to Columbia, South Carolina to go to the University of South Carolina. I graduated from there in 2022 with a bachelor's in environmental science and started working at what was formerly DHEC right after I graduated. And I've been here ever since, working as an air quality data analyst for what's now the South Carolina Department of Environmental Services.
So tell us how we actually measure air pollution. That's what we're talking about today. Let's get into that. How do we actually measure air pollution?
So we measure air pollution through our quality or our network of air quality monitors throughout the state. We measure what we call ambient air, which is what you breathe in as you're, walking your dog, playing with your kids in a park, and just generally spending time outside in your neighborhood. And we measure a bunch of different air pollutants with these air quality monitors. But what we focused on most is particulate matter 2.5 microns or smaller in size, which is more commonly known as soot. And ozone is our other pollutant we focused on the most. And our air quality monitors that we've got around the state either collect data continuously and report it every hour, or they use a physical filter that gets collected either every day or every few days and gets sent off to a lab to be analyzed. And these monitors are really, really sophisticated machines that take a lot of resources to maintain and operate. And we've got a whole team of folks who work really hard to make sure that these monitors are working correctly and meeting federal requirements and just collecting high quality, accurate data for all of our citizens around the state.
So tell us what South Carolina's air quality actually looks like. How is it?
So we've got really great air quality here in South Carolina, and we determine that comparing our data to the National Ambient Air Quality Standards that are set by the Environmental Protection Agency, or the EPA. They set standards for 6 different ambient air pollutants, which they call criteria pollutants. And these standards are set at levels that are meant to protect public health, which includes sensitive populations like people with asthma or children or the elderly, as well as public welfare, which means protecting against crop damage or harm to animals or decreasing the visibility in our natural areas. And EPA sets these standards for 6 different pollutants. So those are particulate matter 2.5 microns in size or smaller, which I mentioned before, particulate matter 10, which are slightly larger particles, ozone, nitrogen dioxide, sulfur dioxide, carbon monoxide, and lead. And the data that we collect on our monitors shows that South Carolina is currently below those pollution limits set by the EPA and meets the standards for all 6 of those criteria pollutants.
We're talking today with Sophie Grimsley. She's an air quality data analyst at the South Carolina Department of Environmental Services. We come back. Let's see how we at home can help with the state's air quality, how we can keep it clean after this.
It seems like data is everywhere these days. But is it reliable? Data from SC Tracking is both accurate and reliable. It's easy to find, easy to use, and has a guide to help you find the information you need. Visit dph.sc.gov/SC Tracks. Do you want to compare health conditions in your county to the rest of your state? SC Tracking tracks that. Maybe you're concerned about air quality where you live. SC Tracking tracks that. Or maybe you're interested in rates of different types of cancer in your county. SC Tracking tracks that too. Visit the SC Tracking website at dph.sc.gov/SC Tracks and try it out. Better info, better health. Brought to you by the South Carolina Department of Public Health.
Welcome back to the Data Pulse. Today we're talking clean air, and clean air is essential for our health, environment, and quality of life. Poor air quality can trigger respiratory issues, harm ecosystems, and reduce visibility. By monitoring and improving air quality, we protect public health, support sustainable growth, and ensure a healthier future for all. Today we're talking with Sophie Grimsley, and she is an air quality data analyst. Is there right now a city in South Carolina that may be better or worse than another?
Well, all of our, or most of our monitors are located in the major cities so that we can monitor really heavily populated areas. All of our large cities and all of our areas in South Carolina are meeting our federal standards. So I wouldn't say that there's one area that's worse than another, but obviously every city has different industry where they might be influenced by one pollutant over another.
Sure.
But all of them meet those federal standards. So
what can people do at home to maybe help clean the air in our area?
you can actually do a lot of things at home. Some of the simplest are just, walking or riding your bike to work or school, maybe taking public transportation or carpooling. Less cars on the road help reduce the amount of pollution that we're putting out while driving around. And if you really need to rely on your car to get around, some of the things you can do are just turning off your car while, say, you're waiting in a pickup line to get your kids, because that can really help reduce the amount of pollution that even just your children are breathing in as they walk to get into your car. We actually run at South Carolina Department of Environmental Services, we run a program called the Anti-Idling Program. It's also known as Breathe Better, and it's aimed at reducing the pollution around school campuses and local businesses. And you can sign up for that on our website. You can just search for Breathe Better, and we have signs that we can give out to show no idling in this area and help reduce that pollution. Some other methods that we use are, trip chaining. Trip chaining is when you complete all your errands in one trip. So you leave the house and go to the grocery store and, then go to the pharmacy and then get your hair cut, rather than going back and forth to your house every single time you need to go out. And some of the simplest ones are just, turning off your lights. Electricity is produced at power plants, and those power plants put out pollution. So just turning your lights off when you aren't using them, it saves you money and it saves pollution.
Gotcha. You've given us some great information there. So where can people actually find that on our website so they could go back to it or even find some more than you've shared so far?
So we've got a lot of information about our different programs on the South Carolina Department of Environmental Services website. That's des.sc.gov. And actually each bureau, for, Bureau of Air Quality, which is where I work, to land and waste, to water, there's a lot of different resources on that website to help protect the environment in general and learn a little bit more about what you can do to do your part.
Sophie, thanks for sharing some time with us. I want to step back just a second. How does one become an air quality data analyst?
Well,
tell us about that.
I personally got into it in college. I grew up in Florida, and I really found hurricanes really interesting. My house growing up was flooded by a hurricane, and since then I was really into meteorology and climate, and air quality is just another step away from that. We use a lot of weather and meteorology in forecasting what different pollutants might be stronger on certain days. And so I, out of college, saw a job open and applied to it. And there's a lot of very niche, knowledge in air quality, but it is so interesting to learn about it all when I first started. And And that's how I got into it, going from my love of meteorology and the weather and turning that into something that I can use to help everybody around the state.
Can you think of off the top of your head some of the places that are bad as far as air quality? I'm sure you've studied some of those things.
We in South Carolina actually have, like I said, some pretty great air quality. There are other states that are exceeding the standards, which, I'm sure you've heard about all the different wildfires out in California.
Right.
Their air quality can get rough with all of that smoke coming from those wildfires. And we do have wildfires in South Carolina too. I'm not sure if you heard about our fire that was out in Myrtle Beach earlier this year. Mm-hmm. That and as well as one in Table Rock. So when there's events like that, the air quality can get bad for communities around those places while it's going on. But we work closely with the South Carolina Forestry Commission while they're putting out those fires and trying to make sure that everybody in those areas have up-to-date and accurate information about the fire and about any smoke impacts they might have while it's happening. And so we try and keep everybody's air quality as clean as we can. Mm-hmm. Sometimes there are things out of our control, and we want to get that data and that information out to people when they are having worse air quality days.
Sophie Grimsley, an air quality data analyst at the South Carolina Department of Environmental Services. We'll wrap up with her after this.
It seems like data is everywhere these days, but is it reliable? Data from SC Tracking is both accurate and reliable. It's easy to find, easy to use, and has a guide to help you find the information you need. Visit dph.sc.gov/SC Tracks. Do you want to compare health conditions in your county to the rest of your state? SC Tracking tracks that. Maybe you're concerned about air quality where you live. SC Tracking tracks that. Or maybe you're interested in rates of different types of cancer in your county. SC Tracking tracks that too. Visit the SC Tracking website at dph.sc.gov/SC Tracks and try it out. Better info, better health. Brought to you by the South Carolina Department of Public Health.
Welcome back to the Data Pulse. Today we're talking clean air, and clean air is essential for our health, environment, and quality of life. Poor air quality can trigger respiratory issues, harm ecosystems, and reduce visibility. By monitoring and improving air quality, we protect public health, support sustainable growth, and ensure a healthier future for all. Today we're talking with Sophie Grimsley, and she is an air quality data analyst. Sophie, did you have anything you wanted to leave us with?
Yes, of course. Some of that data you can find on our, we post our data that gets collected off of our continuously running monitors to a website called Air Now. It posts near real-time data every hour for particulate matter, 2.5 microns and smaller, and ozone. And so you can actually enter in your location and find the closest air monitor to you and see what information it's reading. And you can even sign up for notifications through a system called EnviroFlash on that Air Now website, so that if your air quality is looking unhealthy for that day, or there's smoke impacts in your area, it'll actually send you a notification through an email or through a text that you can receive to be able to plan your day around, going outside or staying inside based on the air quality.
Thanks, Sophie. That's going to do it for this edition of the Data Pulse.
Are you looking for accurate data for school projects, grant applications, or business presentations? SC Tracking has that. Go to dph.sc.gov/SC Tracks. SC Tracking tracks state and county level data. It's easy to get started. Visit dph.sc.gov/SC Tracks. Better info, better health. Brought to you by the South Carolina Department of Public Health.